ये है रचना विचारे, एज 35 years, child's age 9 to 10 years, her family income 8 to 10 lakhs and financial planning में। और ये है रचना विचारे, age again 35 years, child's age 9 years, family income again 8 to 10 lakhs but financial planning में। Hey folks, here Rachana Ranade here and I welcome you all to a very important video which is about financial planning for your child's education. I hope you have understood that in the pre-bumper of the video, we had two characters. One was Mrs. Vichare and the other one was Mrs. Bichare. Vichare and Bichare both have the same financial background, but one is good at financial planning and the other is not good at financial planning. With this in our mind, let's get started. So like in any financial planning, in the planning of education, again the villain is the same. And who is that? Exactly, inflation. So just to give you an example, by the way, everyone knows the meaning of inflation. Simple, rise in price of any commodity is nothing but inflation, right? So if I were to give you an example of coriander, okay. So one bunch of, gaddi of kothimber, one gaddi of coriander used to cost around 2 rupees few years ago. But yesterday when I went to the market, I got it for almost 25 rupees. Well, if I were to give you an example of petrol almost few years ago, we used to get it at 70 rupees per litre, and day before yesterday when I filled up my vehicle, it costed me around 114 rupees per litre. Now the problem is that food inflation is oftenly talked about, inflation about petrol is oftenly talked about, but what about inflation in the education sector? Just have a look at this graphic. You can see that food inflation from 2012 to 2020 was at 9.62%. For healthcare inflation, it was around 8%, but for education, this is around 10%. So I hope you are able to understand that education inflation is a significant factor, but there is one area where there is almost zero inflation. And what is that? The likes on our channel. They never inflate. So this is the time where you have to pause the video, smash the like button and inflate the number of likes on this video. Well, now that we have discussed about inflation in these sectors, out of these, let's focus mainly on the education sector. Here you can see that engineering fee in 2007 for the 4-year course was approximately 1,66,400 in 2007. But if you check out the engineering fee today for the 4-year course, it's almost 8,40,000. But then why is the rise in the cost of education so much? Is it only because of the tuition fee? Answer is no. It could be because of higher administration cost, higher modern school amenities, higher infrastructure cost, higher technology costs and so many more things. Well, these costs are only if you are talking about India. If the child wants to study abroad, along with this cost, there is one more important cost, and what is that? That is the cost of the depreciating rupee. In the last 10 years, it has observed that rupee has depreciated at on an average 3.59%. Is this going to take your cost of education higher and higher? And unfortunately, answer is yes. If this be so, there was a survey which was done by Unified District Information System for Education. By the way, this is a government source. It was found that approximate 39% of the students dropped out of college in the age group of 20 to 24 because they were not able to afford this education and they had to support the families. I agree that in a case where the family income is terribly low, this could still be justified, but if the family income was decent enough and if the child had to drop out only because of poor financial planning, I think this is not at all acceptable, right? In fact, there was a survey by Money Control as well, wherein they have compared the cost of education for MBA, MBBS, engineering, hotel management in the year 2020, and they have also mentioned the expected costs of these education streams in the year 2030, and you'll be surprised to see that the education cost is almost expected to double in the coming 10 years. Now the big question is that if this be so, why aren't we able to feel the heat of this education inflation? Reason is very simple. If I were to talk about inflation of food, inflation of petrol, we actually spend for these commodities on a daily or a weekly basis. But as far as higher education is concerned, we have to shell out the money only at the time of taking admission, and that is where we are not able to foresee this pain. I hope you have understood the importance of this, because at the time of taking this admission, if you are not well prepared, then you have only two choices left. Possibility number one, just forget about that dream. Possibility number two, come what may, you have to arrange for a loan. Maybe at that time the loan interest rate will be high, but you will still have to go for it. But if you want to avoid all these things, there is just one way out, and that is proper financial planning. Well, because I thought that this video is really important to plan for your child's education, I thought let me just put a post on my social media handles, and I'd put this post on LinkedIn and Twitter, and believe it or not, the number of comments that I received was, oh my god. But of course, I can't give the answers to all your comments. But then I thought, let me select a few and I'll try my level best to answer all these with absolute ease. So for example, the very first question was asked by Mr. Lalit, and he says that what would be the estimated cost of education considering today his kids are in grade 1. Similar question is asked by Mr. Margesh that if his child decides to be a doctor, then what would be the cost of this education considering inflation and all, and that too, what would be the cost after 20 years. One more question was asked by Mr. Sushant, wherein he asks about how much needs to be saved. Both these are important questions. I think just to sum up the questions, two important points in this. Number one, what will be the future value of current education? And second one, what will be the required amount to be saved? So for that, there are multiple calculators available. You can check it out on Google. You can also check it out on my website. But today I'm going to show you with the help of EduFund app, how can you calculate all these things with absolute ease and also with some important inputs. So here I have just selected for checking out the future cost of child's education. Just hit on calculate now. Now you can choose undergraduation or post-graduation. I've selected undergraduation and I just hit on continue. Now you have to put in some basic details like name of your child, put up the date of birth, choose the gender and hit confirm. Now with this, you can also choose the specialization for your child, and very important point is that one option at the end is you are not sure what specialization your child would want to pursue, so you can also click that. After that, you choose the country where your child wants to study, then choose the college rank. Let's say you want your child to go only in rank number 1 to 20, that is feasible. Then hit which location and then hit on calculate cost. Once you are done with this, you can click on view college list. Out of the entire list that is available, you can choose a specific college also if you want, or you can just view this. After you are done with this, you can just hit on achieve this goal. Now you can just hit on save and continue. Once you are done with this, one very important point comes up is it mentions that the amount will be whatever and the goal planned by what date and what month and what year, and very important, it tells the suggested SIP amount. Now the big question is that is it possible that you might not be able to cope up with the suggested SIP? Possible, yes. So here what you can do is you can also, with the help of the slider, you can tell that okay, I am able to do only this much of SIP. Again, once you continue, it will also give you which could be the various funds which you can use to invest this money. Here they have mentioned about Tata Large Cap Fund and also Tata Mid Cap Growth Fund. So you can choose out of these two and then you can just hit add to cart. Well, once you are done with this, set up a mandate and hit on place order and just hit confirm and ta-da, that's done. Well, I hope with the help of EduFund's app, you have understood how simple it can be to calculate the amount of future value of education, and also you have understood how to check the amount of SIP that needs to be done to actually achieve that goal. But the problem is that if you are not able to actually do that much of SIP, then what? There is also one more option which is available in the app itself, wherein you can choose for their advisory service. Now, in this advisory service, they will also send you nudges. Nudges will poke you that your amount of SIP is not matching with the amount of required SIP. So they'll ask you, they'll keep on nudging you, have you got any capital gain? Have you received any bonus? If that be so, put that money for your child's education so that you are safe and peaceful at the time of your child's education, actual education, right? So I hope you have understood that the focus is not on taking a loan. The focus is on saving at the right time with the right amount. But just in case, still at the time of actual admission, if you don't end up saving the required amount, they also act as a loan intermediary and they'll smoothen the process of you getting the education loan. So I hope all these points are absolutely clear. With this, let's move on to the next set of questions. The next one is by Mr. Arunava, and he's asking about, he needs investment suggestions for both long term as well as short term, and Mr. Parth Sarthi is also asking about how to plan for short term as well as long term. Well, as far as the long term planning was concerned, I've already told you how can you plan for that. Now let us try and understand about how can you plan for the short term needs. Now, again, I have gone on the EduFund app. I go to save for school and other needs. I click there. Here I select laptop. So, assume that's my short-term requirement. Here I say I want to save for laptop. Then I tell what would be the amount of laptop. Then I can also choose out of these brands which laptop I would want to buy. I select that and then I hit continue. I can also mention the time horizon within which I need this laptop for my child's education. Say the time horizon would be 1 year. I name the goal and then I say save and continue. Again, here the suggested amount will be given for SIP. You can also choose the funds and then you can just hit add to cart. Once that's done, they will tell you about, you have to hit on place order. Once that is done, you can just hit on confirm the order and ta-da, done. So, I hope you have understood that as far as short-term planning for your child's education is concerned, something like a laptop or a mobile, even that can be taken care of with the help of EduFund app. Well, moving on to the next set of questions, again an important one, that if we ourselves are not sure as to what sort of education would our child want to do, then what? Is there anyone who can guide us? The good point here is that EduFund team also have their own counseling department, wherein experts in counseling would guide you as to what are the available career options and which career option can suit your child the best. So again, an important input from their team. One more question which has been asked by Tanuja, again an important one, is that she says that I have already made an investment. Kya baat hai Tanuja? She has already made an investment for her child's education, but she is saying that whatever fund she has chosen, if that does not perform as expected, then what? Then again, one more important input that EduFund team is giving is that they also have their own advisory service. They will help you to rebalance your portfolio. So just in case if X fund is not performing well, they'll suggest you that this can be the fund that you can use as a replacement, which can help you to meet your goal. But very important, they are only giving an advisory service because they are registered investment advisor with SEBI. They will not do the transaction. You will have to do the transaction. They will only provide you with the advisory service and they'll try to provide such funds which can give you optimal results. Moving on to khatam ho gaye questions. I want to take one more question. If in our example about Abhi Junior, okay, if I have chosen engineering, the kid I had taken was at 3 years old, right? If that kid, when that kid becomes the age of 13, at that time the kid is very clear that I don't want to do engineering, I want to pursue MBBS, then what? Then the parents, they might have started their investment planning with EduFund. Big question is, can we edit the entire journey for the child in that case? Answer is again yes. You will be able to tell EduFund team that okay, we want to edit the career of the child. Now from engineering we want to take it to MBBS, and their team will help you out with now what should be the new SIP which will be required. They will help you with the entire process as well and make your life much more easy. I hope I was able to answer a lot of questions. One question was from my side as well, but still if there are a lot of questions unanswered, please don't hesitate to put your questions in the comment section below. I will request EduFund team to answer your questions so that your questions are solved to the best of their knowledge. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you want to know how to plan for your first car, you can click here. If you want to know how is the F&O taxation, you can click here. Till then, take care, Jai Hind and bye-bye.